guys, what's going on? Skratch here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. I lied to you again. Another Ronda video, because now a few builds have really emerged in different areas for different points along the game, depending on where you are and what you're focused on, that I wanted to share our top 5 builds for Ronda with you guys. And I say our because obviously I'm not alone. Skratch, what's up, brother? How you doing, man? Welcome back to the channel.
Yo, what's up, Ash? Thanks for having me. Glad to be back in business here. Yeah, man.
Yes.
Looking forward to it. Ronda, right? Who would have thought that? If you were asking somebody a week ago, guys, can you ever imagine Ronda in Raid Shadow Legends?
Rowdy Ronda Rousey, man. No, I did not. But,
exactly, right?
But overall, like, I'm sure, I don't want to speak for both of us, but I'm sure you agree, really good thing having these free champions. Like, these are the best things that Raid Shadow Legends does, the Plarium does, in my opinion, and especially when a champion's this useful as Ronda is. And before we get to the builds, man, I want to kind of really quickly compare her to the other 4 champions that have been like these login 7 days, right? It says, I pulled them up on hellhades.com, right? And they've got Ninja as number 1 at a 4.5 overall rating. They've got Alexander the Sharpshooter at a 3.5, right? They've got Ultimate Death Knight at a 4. They have Deliana, 3.5, okay? And then they rank Ronda, drumroll please, a 3.5. So they rank her the same as Alexander and Deliana. I'll share my personal opinions, but I want to know from you first. My viewers have heard what I think of this champion. What do you think? Where do you put her?
I definitely think she comes after Ninja and Ultimate Death Knight. The reason for it, Ultimate Death Knight has his very unique thing with the passive, right? And he brings a lot of support to the team, so I can see him being used in more areas of the game comparing with Ronda. Now, Ronda, she is a damage dealer, right? Most of the people will be like, well, she's just a damage dealer. Kayle deals the same damage with the AoE skill, or maybe a little bit more, which is true because Kayle deals surprisingly more damage than most of the top nukers in the game if you're giving them the same stats. But Ronda, she might not be as powerful for progression as Ultimate Death Knight, you know, because you're not going to use her in Hydra and in so many other places. But she's such a powerful champion even in endgame. Such a powerful and unique champion all around. So I definitely think like she's gonna whoop the floor with Deliana and the other
Alexander. Simple, yeah. So I agree with you 100%. I do think that they're very unique. Like, all of these champions are, you can get some utility out of, you know, and they're all like cool that they did that. But I agree with you, and I said this on the first, my first impression video, is I think that she blows Alexander and Deliana out of the water. I'm curious to see what you guys think, my viewers. Let me know how you, especially if you have those other champions, what do you think of them? So you said you can use her in the end game. Where are you most excited to use this champion?
Honestly, I love her for arena. I just love that A2 skill, you know, like being as an extra in the team, being able to lock a Mitrala if I want to, which has freaking 1200 resistance in Platinum Arena, and just being able to lock her passive to reduce the resistance for the rest of the champions to deal with her if needed, or just being able to lock her skills so she cannot cleanse the rest of the champions is actually very, very powerful. And a lot of people might be justifying it and saying like, well, you're gonna use Stone Skin on a Mitrala instead. Your stats will get lowered on Stone Skin, and then you're kind of like opening yourself up to bombs. So there's so many things, and definitely Deliana, a great champion to counter a lot of passives, including Duchess, Necret, to kill Rotoses through Necret shields, which is such a powerful thing in arena at the moment for the very end game, you know. And I can definitely seeing her being used in the lower tiers of arena, where a lot of people will really get a lot of value out of this champion, even against Ultimate Death Knight, because we've seen that she actually lands the debuff that blocks the passive before the damage, so she cannot get a weak hit how I initially thought. So that actually makes it even better, you know? Yeah.
Stone Skin is annoying, like with UDK and stuff, but you're right about the A2 being super viable. And really, that Fury Tremor, man, it hits really hard. I've been, you know, testing it out as well for the arena, and like, to me, this is a really big upgrade on, you know, starting champions, you know, this A3 ability, and you don't have to book it either, you know, so pretty cool there. The 2-time hitter, so I'm a big fan of this champion. We're both big fans. Let's go ahead and go through our builds here. I just want to start because I have her already in a build. I'm going to switch the builds and the masteries every single time, so you guys can go ahead and copy or, you know, take inspiration from whatever it pertains to where you're at, where you want to use her. So I'm going to start with my favorite build, and that is, I think most people would say the second build we're going to talk about, maybe. But I just love her in Relentless gear, man. I mean, Reflex doesn't make any sense on her because what are you going to do? Like, you know, reduce the cooldown of the 3-turn A2 and shut off the A3. It doesn't make any sense to me. But Relentless, I mean, a triple, possibly a quadruple hitter on the A1, a triple hitter on the A2. That's a lot of damage, especially Relentless with Giant Slayer, right? Because you're getting all that extra damage every time. These are the masteries, by the way. I'm going to kind of hug Skratch. Hey, what's up? What's up, Skratch? You can't see what I'm doing right now, but it's weird. It's weird. Good time to mention, by the way, that Skratch has an awesome YouTube channel. This is really creepy, man. Skratch has an awesome YouTube channel, and we're going to do a collab on his channel next. I'm not even sure what we're going to do it about. Probably about Ronda as well, so go ahead and check that out. So one of the most knowledgeable guys in the game. So anyway, guys, these are the masteries that I prefer for the Relentless build, especially most notably going with Giant Slayer, right? Getting all that extra damage. So Skratch, any thoughts on this build? This is what I would use her basically personally. I think I would use her in this build unless I was end game and I was just trying to maximize damage no matter what. I'd probably use her on this build everywhere PvE outside of the arena as my favorite build. What about you?
Absolutely, like that is the #1 monster build for PvE for Ronda, Relentless. Like just getting all those extra runs is just crazy. Like just imagine her on the Fire Knight, just knocking down a shield on stage 25 by her own, taking extra turns. That can actually happen, guys. That can actually happen,
dude. And it's insane. Go ahead. Sorry.
Exactly. I was gonna say, like, if you're gonna add a blessing too, because I know we're gonna cover that at some point, so I'm gonna rush it a bit in. But if you're gonna add on her a Phantom Touch with the Relentless, and you're lucky enough to have a 5-star awakening on her, man, she's definitely gonna knock that shield on her own. You know, it's actually crazy how powerful she can be and how nice it's actually gonna be as an idea. Yeah, definitely very, very solid.
Great call out on Phantom Touch there. Let me see other blessings that Hades had. I'll link this for you guys too. He recommends, let's see, Cruelty, Phantom Touch, Brimstone, or Lightning Cage, depending on where you're going to use her. But yeah, man, Phantom Touch, really, really cool call out on that blessing on this champion. So anything else on this build? I mean, just to cover the stats on all of these builds, guys, really quickly, my stat priorities would be like crit rate at 100% being first and foremost, and then really no need for accuracy, so a little bit of speed and attack crit damage. That's really it, and obviously enough HP to keep her alive. Anything to add there?
Yeah, I would definitely not use Cruelty on her, so that's the thing that it will be a no-no, because we'll kind of like sacrifice everything in her kit. Cruelty is more of a blessing that should be used on champions that don't deal a lot of damage and are kind of like bringing in that extra support for the rest of the team to come in with bigger damage, you know? So in terms of blessings, yeah, I would probably go Phantom Touch. Lightning Cage could be initially good for Arena, or a Soul Reap is actually more powerful too. I would kind of like go on that sort of blessings for her, yeah.
Okay, sounds great. And on this build, guys, just so you know, I have crit damage on the gauntlets. I have attack percentage on the chest. I have speed on the boots. I went actually HP, because she has very low base HP, Skratch, at 14.8. So I went HP on the banner just to help to keep her alive. You guys can make the call what's best for your account. I went crit damage on the amulet and attack on the ring. All right, let me go ahead and build her in build number 2, and I'll be right back. All right, we're back, guys. Skratch, take it away, man. I'm assuming, based on your, what you like in this game, endgame arena player, this is your favorite build. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So okay. I would definitely go with a Savage, go with a Lethal set, pair it with Cruel, with crit damage, whatever I have left as well to kind of like get decent stats on. And I would prioritize tons of attack, full crit rate, tons of crit damage, depending on how I have it left. But I feel like this is going to be a very solid build for Arena. We want to have as much attack to deal damage. And the thing is that if somebody will survive that A2, we're gonna lock them. So if we're gonna hit on reaction or anything like that, which is such a common thing nowadays, we're definitely gonna be able to control it. And the AoE skill, while we are over 50% HP, is actually gonna hit pretty hard. So the multipliers on the skills, I think, is 1.2 on the A1, 1.9 on the A2, 1.9 on the A3. So on the A3 double hit, being that 30% extra damage, will actually put her on very solid multipliers all around, and can definitely compete with a lot of big boy nukers out there,
Yeah, so this would be an arena nuking build, and it would be like you know, if you're early, by the way, like, apologies, I've mentioned this already a few times to my audience, but I will have my free-to-play account gets her in 2 days, so I will have, like, a way, like, lower end if you're just starting out builds. But either way, the principles remain the same. 100% crit rate. I just kind of moved gear around quickly here, guys. Don't hate me for the 2% too badly. But to Skratch's point, we also switched off that banner, too. We switched it from HP to attack to go all-out attack, and we switched up the masteries. Quick thoughts on the masteries here, Skratch. Is pretty typical for an arena nuker.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you kind of want to go on that direction for sure. Yeah, because even though she ignores defense with her A2 only, right? Having a Savage set, having a Cruel set, and Helm Smasher together with that is still not going to take her to 100% ignore defense. And you want to make the most out of her skills, because the A1, the A3 doesn't ignore defense. So having Helm Smasher as tier 6 is definitely the best value for your buck. Let me put it like that, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Helm Smasher, Ruthless Ambush, picking up Opportunist as well. Really good options, and we still went down. There's no world in any of these builds that you would go support tree and go with like HP and a little bit more of the shield on our passive, right?
No, not at all. Actually, even if you think about getting Master Hexer for the debuffs on the A2, it's still not worth it. I cannot justify it. I prefer to get the defense tree, get a cheeky counter attack every now and then.
I agree. I totally agree with you there. But there was a couple people in the comments who were like, Ash, support tree is not that bad. And I was like, I don't know. I think it is, but we'll see what Skratch says. A question here. Would you ever put her in attack percentage boots?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I use mine. So because in Platinum, you're definitely going to hit a lot of reaction. You're going to encounter a lot of Stone Skin. The meta changed a lot in terms of how fast are your champions. Like, I started doing my champions just slower and slower and slower, where I'm at the point where my nuker is at like 130, 140 speed now, you know? Is that crazy?
That is crazy. And so that would pertain only pretty much to the end game, I would say, right? The attack percentage on, or I guess if you can build her, depending on the team, right?
Pretty much. I mean, if you're doing goal 4, goal 5, you're not really going to fight the craziest teams out there.
Yeah.
You know, so
speed farming,
you're still going to encounter reactions, Stone Skin, and stuff like that, but not as common. Only up from Gold 5 and Platinum Arena, you know?
Okay, exactly. So that's build number 2. Savage or Lethal. I have her here in Lethal gear, but Savage obviously does the same thing, minus the crit rate. So this would be an all-out arena nuke build. Let's go to build number 3. All right, guys, here we go. Build number 3. I mentioned this in yesterday's video. I really like Retaliation as an option for you guys. We're sticking with the same crit damage as a 2-piece set as well. Retaliation, 35% chance to counterattack when hit. Avenging is a 45% chance, but it's predicated on a critical hit. Keep in mind, most bosses in the game are not going to be pulling off many critical hits. They have like a 15% crit rate. So Avenging, sure, in the arena on some champions, but Retaliation for PvE in dungeons for Ronda really works well, because we have a chance at a 4-time hitter. Again, going back to I went Helm Smasher instead of
you changed your masteries. I went the same. Huh?
Yeah, I changed my masteries, and everything. Okay, so here we go, guys. I'm not going to spend another 150 gems. Everything is what I would go with, except not Helm Smasher again, Giant Slayer. Keep that in mind. I personally would only go Helm Smasher, unless I was end game trying to maximize damage. No, even if I was, I would go an all PvE, I would go Giant Slayer. Would you?
Yeah, okay. Absolutely, because Giant Slayer will give you more rewards. Damage. Unless you're planning for her to kind of like one-shot the waves with a AoE skill, which most probably not many people will kind of rely on that. Definitely, Giant Slayer will be the way to do it. You know?
So with Giant Slayer, with Retaliation on this champion, in the counterattacks, mixed with Giant Slayer, mixed with In Your Corner, right? And I saw on Nubraid's channel too, Skratch, that I saw that In Your Corner, I didn't even think of this, but I guess it's true, is this doesn't even have that damage penalty like you would get on a counterattack or an ally attack on this passive. So between the In Your Corner, between the all these counterattacks, right? She's going to be dishing out tons of damage extra on that A1. So I think this would be my second favorite build, and Retaliation is not a set that we talk about too often after Relentless for PvE. What do you think about it?
Yeah, definitely is a very solid option as well, because seeing her going on a rampage, you know, with that basic skill, getting all those extra hits in there is actually pretty nutty. And how you mentioned, it brings so much damage. Like, a lot of people feel like they undervalued her potential before she got released with the damage that she's going to be drop, you know.
And again, we have 100% crit rate. We have 250 on the crit damage. We have her pretty fast at 209. I did put HP percentage on her chest, almost to prove a point here, Skratch, there. If, especially depending on where you are in the game, even though we want to prioritize attack on a champion like this, the first and foremost, you want to keep her alive, right? So going with HP percentage, maybe not the best on this champion since it's so low at 14k, but nothing wrong, again, as we mentioned before, going HP as well on the banner, on the ring, and then going attack percentage, which scales better on the chest. However, I didn't have any retaliation attack percentage because who has good retaliation gear, Skratch? But, you know, just proving the point that, you know, it's better to keep a champion alive and actually finish your run and optimize your energy and not fail than it is to maximize every, you know, ounce of attack on these champions.
Yeah, 100%, man, because she needs to get a bit of a hit in order to counter attack as well with this set. So you definitely want to have some survivability stats on her. How you mentioned, it does scale better to have percentage attack and have like a flat banner or a flat ring with HP and the percentage on attack after, because that will scale better depending on what you have. But I don't even have a lot of retaliation on my account, and probably not that many people do, you know, because nobody really farms the Ice Golem, man.
Yeah. All right, 2 more builds. We'll be right back. All right, guys, here we go. Build number 4. Skratch, take it away.
So these guys, if you're early game, probably a lot of people started playing the game and they're like, okay, should I go for Ronda? Should I go for my starter? Who should I 6-star first, right? Like, can Ronda do the campaign for me? Can Ronda help my progression? 100% yes, guys. And you're going to get a lot of benefits out of this champion, you know, like she's going to be solid all the way up to endgame. The starter champions will be solid all the way up to endgame, but they're going to be very niche to particular secret rooms on Doom Tower hard mode. Other than that, you're going to drop them pretty quick in endgame, and justifying it to 6-star them early on for your progression when you have this beauty available is pretty hard to kind of like make the jump. She will farm the campaign for you without being booked. She's going to do that without a problem. So go with confidence. Lifesteal gear on her is actually going to be a huge set for progression, you know, for the big part of the game. And I feel like it's definitely a very, very solid build all around in terms of progression, early game to mid game, kind of like making your transition towards end game. It's going to be solid for dungeons like this. If you need some DPS on the Dragon, you need some DPS in Clan Boss, you need some DPS on Fire Knight, and other dungeons will definitely help you out, you know?
Yep. And we're keeping the same kind of overall stats here, you know, crit damage. I put attack percentage this time on the chest, Skratch, but again, especially in lifesteal gear, nothing wrong with going HP percentage, going HP again on the accessories down below, speed on the boots there, and just some survivability and a lot of extra damage and the ability to heal herself up, as you said. This is what I would go with probably if I didn't have Relentless gear, didn't have good Retaliation gear, and I was just kind of in the first, I don't know, 4 to 6 months or whatever, like 1 to 6 months playing the game, you know, is that kind of what you would do too? And also, I guess at this point too, it's nothing wrong with going crit rate on the gauntlets as well, right? If you just can't find the crit rate substats from other gear, right?
Yeah, especially if you just like started your account recently. I think the gloves that we are getting from the very first few drops of gear, I think they might be crit rate or crit damage. I honestly can't remember 100%.
I think it's crit rate. I think
it's crit. Yeah, I think having crit rate early on her is definitely not a bad thing, and it really depends what sort of gear you have accessible, you know. And as a pair set next to the lifesteal, you can either go on a broken set if that will give you better stats than kind of like focusing on the bonus stat. Really depends what you have available. Speed set, pretty much everything that could actually float your boat a bit in there, you know.
Absolutely. So lifesteal, a little bit of HP maybe on the accessories to help her, you know, heal herself back up. 30% of damage dealt is going to be a lot of healing. So great kind of mid-game safe build for this champion to keep her alive. Last but not least, be right back. All right, guys. So the last build, I actually saw this on Hell Hades' channel. It is a toxic set on Ronda. Now, there's some upsides to some downsides, and there's also some misconceptions about toxic. We kept this set for last because honestly, it's good for it's decent for unkillable teams on Clan Boss. But you know, on her hits, just keep in mind she's not landing poison every single time. She's not landing 4 poisons per A1, 3 poisons per A2. But still, it can give you a little bit of extra damage with a toxic set. What do you think about toxic on Ronda?
Yeah, I feel like if you're running a Clan Boss team where you're not able to run Relentless, definitely a pretty good choice. If you're lacking poisoners, a pretty good choice because she will get to use the passive, which will allow her to drop another poison in there. And the way all these sets work, guys, they don't require accuracy, so
which is
you
nice.
can actually,
yeah, because she doesn't require accuracy, so you don't have to worry about it. Yeah,
exactly. And then these sets, they don't work per hit on the skill. So every set in the game will only have a chance to activate base per skill. So if she hits 100 times with the A1, she's only going to have the chance to land the poison once, because it's based on the skill, you know. So how many times she's actually using the skill. That's how it works with the stun sets and other things like that. But how I mentioned, I feel like it's not the best build out there, but if you're lacking poisons, if you cannot use Relentless and you need that extra 500,000, 1 million to 2 million damage in your clan boss team to get you close to a 2-key Ultra Nightmare or 1-key Nightmare or whatever you are in the game, I feel like it's definitely a good option as long as you're able to get the good damage stats on her, because you still want to prioritize her raw damage. That's kind of like the creme de la creme, what really makes the champion special for clan boss, you know.
That's a really good point, Skratch. I mean, you're also getting the in your corner poisons, because those will place the poisons there when she joins in those attacks. So that's really, really nice using the default skill there. But you're right. You should be very, very careful about sacrificing too much on your stats in order to get her in toxic gear, because it's just going to mitigate the poison effect, or maybe even worse. Maybe you put out worse damage. So just be very careful of that. But again, on the masteries there, we went the same masteries I've been showing you on the other PvE builds, just Giant Slayer, obviously. And this build, again, would be for kind of like mid-game, I guess, if you don't, to Skratch's point, if you don't have Relentless, clan boss, unkillable, right? Is that pretty much it?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
That sort of situation. Or if you're struggling on the dragon, like that's not really gonna be the case, because she's gonna smack enough damage that she's gonna send that secret skill to sleep, you know. But
all right, guys. So hey, 5 builds, right? What do you guys prefer out of these 5 builds? And do you know any that we didn't speak about? Let us know in the comments below. And be sure to check out Skratch's channel. We're gonna go record on his channel right now, so you're not gonna want to miss it. I think we're gonna talk about all the places we use Ronda, right?
Okay. Yes, absolutely.
Cool. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, take care, guys.